Big rumors abound that the MCU is in even more trouble than we knew. What are we talking about? Well, Avengers Doomsday apparently was filmed without a finalized script. Now the Russo brothers in charge of directing the thing could be scrambling in post-production to make sense of it. And this comes on the heels, of course, of us finding out that through the leaks, this is not a great story indeed, and many fans are furious at what could be the very end of the MCU. What a day, what a great day, folks. It's the best day ever to be alive. Even if the skies above you are gray, the sun will shine once more. Get out there and make the world a better place. It's up to you and me and all of us indeed. As we dive in today into the latest out of Marvel, they've got plenty of gray skies, Kevin Feige having no fun these days, and it could be an all-out attempt to save the thing by the time we get there this holiday season. It's already been delayed once. Will it get delayed again? Probably not. And that means they're stuck with something that could be a lot of rot at the box office. Gonna hand it over to Jonas J. Campbell and the crew to cover this one. Folks, click that like button and let's dive into the latest conversation on what's going wrong with Marvel.
Avengers Doomsday is supposed to save the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Walt Disney Company at large. But here we are looking at a movie that is on track to be the most expensive film ever made by a long shot, by design, before they get into reshoots. And it looks like this train was already in motion before they completely built it. And they had to add on a few cars, it sounds like. The rumor here out of that Park Place, we're quoting someone else's rumor. I need to point that out so we don't put this all on Marvin. Rumor, Avengers Doomsday is facing major problems. Film is a complete mess after shooting without a finished script. That word complete, man, that's an interesting word. I just have to say, we're going to go to the reasoning behind this, but I just have to point out the Hollywood Reporter already corroborating some of the points of this. Avengers Doomsday tickets to go on sale next week. Runtime revealed, although it's not final.
Not final because they're still trying to patch this Frankenstein's monster together.
Yep. Marvin, we have the option here of introducing using your words or having you state what's going on. Dealer's choice here.
Essentially what's going on here, Jonas, is they started filming this without a completed script. And that's something that we've known for quite a while because Rebecca Romijn probably said something she shouldn't have said when they were doing an interview with her. And they asked her if she's seen the full script. And she's like, well, there isn't a full script. It's not done yet. Which Kevin Feige then immediately had to jump in front of the train a couple days later and be like, well, this is what we do. We're constantly plussing the script. Meanwhile, this is a movie, Jonas, where if you remember, months into filming, they were still hiring new writers. They brought in the Deadpool guys. So now apparently they thought they had everything correct, when they were filming it, and they thought that it would come together. And in the editing room, they are not, quote, finding the film in the editing room because you flew by the seat of your pants and you filmed a bunch of scenes with a bunch of different actors, 60 different named characters apparently in this movie, by the way, what World of Real had said. So, they filmed all this stuff and now they're just like, well, how do we put this together? And apparently it's trying to create like a legitimate, narrative out of this has just been incredibly difficult for them.
This is one of those things where if you had a vision from start to end of where this story needs to go, I get it that you have, 60 characters that you're trying to put into the movie. I wonder who's going to end up getting cut in all of this, because it sounds like this is so chaotic that they may have already shot some things for number 2, may even have already shot some things for number 3, not because of forward thinking, but maybe because they still haven't figured out what's going to go into number 2. And we say number 3 because I think that they're going to try to salvage this thing as much as possible and try to get as much money out of the global public as possible. Caro, I was wondering what your thoughts on this are. When you go into a story as a writer, how important is it to have the end in mind as opposed to the middle in mind?
I'm laughing because Caro and I have had this conversation before because we're very different on this.
Yeah, I'm an outliner, and so I usually like to know where the story's going and where we're gonna. My concern with this film is I don't because first off, you said it was started without it being finished. So that's always like a giant alarm bell to me. It doesn't matter what project it is or where I am. If I hear that something's finished and the script's not done, I like panic, like internally, like my heart pressure goes up. Because more than likely what this is probably going to be is like a hodgepodge of like really cool scenes that are kind of loosely tied together for the sake of like giving certain actors like screen time, and then being for us to be able to make memes and like little like shorts on phones and on all of that. And I think it's just a waste of time. Like I have zero interest in watching this. I mean, ever since like Endgame, I was like, I'm done. Like that was it for me. I could move on with my life. And but for some reason, like they were like, no, we're gonna keep going and make more films. And we were all like, but we don't care. Like we legitimately do not care.
You know what? I would say a lot of us still did want to see where they were going to go with stuff. But then like once we realized that she's got help scene from the end of Endgame, that really cringy A-Force scene, like that was just going to be Marvel going forward. And once we realized that, we were all like, no, thank you.
Well, because part of the things that they were, I mean, like, I think we're all very educated and we all are knowing this, so I'm just going to reiterate things that we already know. But when they moved into, like, that phase after Endgame where they were, like, doing all, like, the female protagonist focused movies and stuff like that, it's not because they were trying to bring more females to the table. It's because women actors are cheaper, right? Like, Robert Downey Jr. wasn't brought back because they actually wanted to kill his character. It's because he's very expensive. Right, like he is the most expensive thing in the film.
Yeah, he apparently the deal with him was that he gets like a percentage of the gross,
right?
Which for a movie like Endgame is substantial.
I think the other thing is they brought back half of the writers for Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. It was Marcus and McFeely, and I forget which of the two that they brought back, but they didn't bring back both of them on this one. And they also have the Russo brothers, who are company men through and through. And I've seen some of their stuff outside of Marvel, and it's still good, but it hasn't had the commercial success that they've had with Marvel. It also there's been no build up to whatever's going on in this movie, other than they have to establish two sets of characters, that being the Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four. And some brief mention of Doctor Doom at the end of Fantastic Four, if people haven't fallen asleep by the end of that very boring movie. I'm sorry. I know I get resistance on this, but that movie was aggressively
You get resistance
boring.
on that? That's a terrible.
Which movie was boring?
Fantastic Four: First Steps.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I hated it.
It's a great soundtrack, but I'd rather just listen to the soundtrack on its own. So looking at what they're doing here, there's no anticipation for what should be going on here. There's no, hey, are we going to see the resolution on Steve Rogers' story arc? Because it was very much resolved. There's no resolution to be had on any story arc at this point because there's nothing to be resolved. So they have to build the stakes from scratch. They still haven't addressed whether or not they're going to, because they're not saying whether there's actually any connection between Tony Stark and Doctor Doom in this, despite it being the same guy. So, and there's no clear audience consensus on whether that's a good or a bad thing, other than it's just kind of weird. So this movie is such a black box. The audience isn't looking for anything out of this film other than shiny key jangling. Hey, remember the keys that we jangled over here for this movie? Remember what it felt like when we jangled those keys over there? We hope you feel that again. But also, this guy's evil now. We don't know why. So I really would hate to be the editor on a film like this, to try to.
I would hate to be the editor on the script of this.
Oh my! Even Joss Whedon talks about the struck. Go ahead.
I would say I would like to be the editor on this film because then I can cut Pedro out.
Yeah, and he's still releasing movies that are like Behemoth. Just got a trailer, and I got to say, automatically not interested in that movie if someone thinks that he's the great choice for a lead role. With this, and this is how great the deleted scenes and commentaries used to be. Even Joss Whedon talks about what came together in the edit on Avengers. There's a line where it's the scene where Nick Fury and Captain America are talking, and he says, "You should have thrown the Tesseract back into the ocean." And then the next shot is Iron Man in the ocean installing one of his arc reactors, which are based on Tesseract technology, if you follow the backstory of everything. And he said, if you thought that this was me intentionally doing something cool and creating a great segue, well, it wasn't intentional, but it is a great segue. Like there's so much that once you start looking at visually what's going on screen and with the script and everything, this is, you have to let the creative process happen. Deadlines are important for most people, but looking at this, I don't think that they have enough room to breathe to make something great. I think they've got a deadline and a merch release schedule, and they've got plastic tool dies that have to be keyed up in order to make sure that all the toys are on the shelf in time for this movie to be released this December. And all of those things are more important than whether or not this is a good movie. So
yeah,
I really don't. I don't feel for them on this one.
No, this situation, I think, almost like where like Justice League was in no way done, but they didn't want to push it back because then the board of directors didn't get their their bonuses. This is, and they are also like they also don't want to move from that December 18th because of Dune, and they don't want to be the ones to blink, even though Dune had the date first. Right,
because they would rather pee in somebody else's cornflakes than admit that maybe they need a little bit more time on this one. I don't know. Do either of you have any closing thoughts before we move on from the train wreck that Disney has already put in motion here before it hits that December release date?
I would pay money to be in the debriefing room for after this film launches.
You think they're going to do that? Do you actually think they're going to look back and go, hey, what could we have done better?
I don't know. Like, I kind of wish there was one, and I would just sit there very quietly. I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't post anything online. I just want to know.
Well, there will be no conversation about what they could have done better, Jonas. It will be what could the audience have done better.
Well, that's what it's going to be publicly, but I think that you're going to have another Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams situation. I think that they have to wait until the end of Doomsday to hear what everybody thinks about what should have happened, and then they're going to finish writing Secret Wars or Avengers Forever or whatever the next movie ends up being. So good luck to the Russos. I hope the paycheck is worth all the scrutiny that's coming your way.
You know, one of the greatest things we get to do each and every day is speak out and reach out to folks who don't know how entertainment works. And frankly, we think entertainment matters so much. It's why we do what we do. And you can help us send this out to even more folks. Click that like button, share, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. And wouldn't you know it, folks, we're even on Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/WDW Pro. We've got to go, but until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.